Welcome, friends, to episode 30 of the Q Podcast, a podcast where a gathering of friends win on geek and gaming passion topics. Today is November 15th, 2015, and my Ben, I was gonna say, my Ben.
What is happening? What is happening?
Don't worry about it.
Are you having a stroke? Should we call
I just can't feel it. Never mind. My name is Ben FreeBrunch Thomas. Joining me today is Patrick Figfire Figueroa.
What is going on?
We also, in a triumphant return, is Christian Sea Monkey Alariaga.
Yo.
Welcome back, dude.
Yeah, last week sucked.
Why did that happen? Why?
Yeah, did you find out what happened?
So, no idea. The tech guy came out, and apparently there was something wrong with one of the boxes, so that was replaced.
Was it just your house, or was it your block, or?
It was just our house.
Mm.
Seriously, like just our house out of the entire area. So
That is roof.
I think you were sabotaged by a rival podcast.
Oh, yeah, right? Go figure.
Someone out there. Maybe it was like the other Q podcast about the Christian one.
Is it? Yeah, the Christian one, right?
Oh, they've been known to do that. So.
Whose last episode was in 2012.
Oh man.
Hopefully, when we get more episodes than them, then we can overtake them in the Q charts.
Oh,
and then finally take our spot as #1 on the iTunes downloads.
Yes, that may never happen.
Not with that attitude.
You're right. You're right. I think that no, there's nothing stopping us. I can't think of an obstacle. Well, we got a really meaty episode today, guys. We got lots to talk about. Christian's got 2 weeks of pent up stuff. Me and Patrick got lots of stuff, so let's jump right into it. Let's start with you, Christian.
So Internet was out. Luckily I had some games downloaded off of Steam that I could actually play offline. So I actually went and ran back through Transistor, which was super fun.
Great game.
For the second time? Is that what you
Yeah.
meant? Oh, do you guys often play games for a second time?
Depends. This one had a new game plus feature, so I decided to give that a shot.
Dude, that new plus is hard as shit. I gave up immediately.
Yeah.
I was like,
It's hard.
I'm not prepared for this.
Yeah, so there was the Transistor. I played back through Mirror's Edge because the hype is real for the second game in the I don't know, the series, I suppose.
It's coming out soon.
Yeah, I'm super excited because Mirror's Edge was one of those games where, like, if you look at it graphically, it still holds up even though it was released, I don't know, however many years ago.
2008.
Sometime.
Yeah, so
7 years ago.
The game itself is just absolutely gorgeous. Like, if they gave me a sandbox option to just run through the city in that game, I would do it for hours.
What's the so the appeal of that game is just running through the city or whatever?
Yeah, the scenery, pretty much.
I don't really know what kind of game that is. Is it like action?
It is action.
Action
it's
puzzler,
action-oriented.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, because people were pretty surprised that they were making a sequel just because the first one was kind of a cult classic that sold fine, but not like super well.
It was, yeah, I mean, I absolutely loved it. It's unique in that it's kind of like an action game, but there's not too much fighting. It's mostly evasion. Like, it's not even stealth-based evasion because the cops know you're there. You're just trying to run. So it's finding, like, the path that you can take through the city. And it's mostly through, like, rooftops and stuff, so it's not even, like, ground level. But
Dang.
I mean, everything's beautifully done. Like, the parkour system in that game is pretty stellar.
Did you play Dying Light?
I have not.
A lot of people compared the traversal in that game to Mirror's Edge. I never like had any context. But you could just like clamber up rooftops and jump around and whatnot. Nice.
Supposedly the next game is going to be sandboxy in that you don't have to follow the linear storyline like you did in Mirror's Edge 1. So I'm excited
I mean,
for that.
I watched some gameplay of Mirror's Edge. It seemed pretty linear though. Like there's an A to B. And it's great to look at, but yeah, like you said, it wasn't a sandbox.
Yeah. And then aside from that, I played more. I went back through anyway. Deus Ex: Human Revolution.
Huh. I was trying to remember how to pronounce it. I was gonna get it wrong, so I'm glad you said it. And that's a famous stealth game.
Not necessarily.
You can play it both ways, right?
Yeah, kind of like the way you can play Metal Gear.
Yeah.
You could either go in guns blazing or you can stealth your way through it.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the cover art and it looks terrifying. Oh, it's cyberpunk.
Yeah,
It reminds me of like the Matrix, or the guy looks like Neo.
yeah, a little bit. Enhanced humans kind of thing.
Is
Mhm.
cyberpunk a thing?
Yeah.
Is it
Think
like
so.
is it I couldn't like if you had asked me just before I looked this up to name an example of like a cyberpunk property, I would struggle. What are
What do
like
you mean by property?
like movies,
Like
TV, or
genre.
games?
Or, yeah, okay, yeah.
Fifth Element.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Nice.
good one.
I know that CD Projekt Red is working on a game called like Cyberpunk 2077.
I know Ghost in the Shell is very, very cyberpunk, if you guys have ever watched that. So
I've never heard of that.
that's very cyberpunky. It's one of the more well-known animes.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
If you guys want to go Flash and Arrow, I'm giving you the
Oh, yeah,
the
so,
opening.
I
I thought
mean-
that show just ended. That's like the new TV model where they're on year round kind of thing.
They had a summer break.
Summer break.
Mhm.
It felt too short.
Like
I'm
most,
just
like
kidding.
most.
I'm
shows.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, we went how many episodes without talking about it?
Who knows? 10 to 15 at least.
It's about due then.
Well then, yeah. All right. Well, I'll get into it. So as a transition to my part, this week on The Flash, we got our first look at the season 2 main villain, Zoom. And so Flash has really been getting into the multiverse lately, and they've spent the first 5 episodes really through secondhand sources, trying to set up how terrifying Zoom would be. And as for most audiences, like when you hear these secondhand sources, like you don't really believe them, or you don't really have a reason to believe them, right? Because it's like, oh man, he's so scary, and it's like, well, that doesn't really do anything for me. This latest episode on The Flash really showed us that Zoom is a force to be reckoned with. The first 80% of the episode was comic relief, right, Christian?
Yeah.
Like the fake acting as trying to act as bait to get him.
Yep. Yeah.
And then
it's
the
classic
last,
Flash.
Yeah, the classic
Traditional
Flash. It's
Flash.
lighthearted. And then the last 10 minutes turned very quickly dark.
Balls to the walls. Holy
right.
crap.
So like the Flash, he's been learning all these new moves. He knows how to throw lightning. He knows how to like create illusions now. And I tweeted earlier, it's like, man, I want to see him use these in a fight, and like a real fight. And so with Enter Zoom, Barry got to meet the arch nemesis that they've been setting up, Zoom, and he got to like try to use like some of these abilities, right? I mean, with his abilities plus Team Flash behind him, like telling him what to do, Barry's like pretty unstoppable. And as like the fight started between the two speedsters, we find out that, oh my god, I just got goosebumps thinking about it. Barry gets the living shit kicked out of him. Like,
He goes like straight Bane on Batman kind of
It's-
shit kicked out of him.
it's crazy. And like Team Flash is like trying to help him out. They're like telling him like, oh man, if you go terminal velocity by falling down, like you'll be at the same speed and everything's gonna be okay. It was not okay.
Wait, so
Not-
okay. Who's Barry and did you say Team Flash?
Team Flash is just like the guys that help him, like
Okay.
the guys in the control room, and
like
He,
Team Arrow.
he
and
has
Team
a
Flash.
control room?
yeah, he's got like a little base of operations.
Base of
and
operations.
stuff.
More like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Barry is
Kind of like the
Flash.
Batcave.
Like a mother
Flash's
base.
Batcave.
Yeah, Mother Base, exactly.
And Barry, is he Flash?
He's
Yeah.
the Flash.
Okay.
Barry Allen.
Zoom beats him to a pulp. He presumably steals and dampens his speed. He paralyzes him, breaks his back, and proceeds to parade him around Central City, which is the setting. He parades him around to the news stations and police stations in Central City. And the guy who voices Zoom, Tony Todd, his voice work is chilling. He like holds him up by like his neck and says, "Look at your hero. He is no god." And then he's like, "You expected him to beat me?" As he's holding like Barry by his throat, and it's absolutely devastating to
Mind
watch
you,
this.
Barry looked like he was dead.
Barry was like there were shots of him being dragged around the whole city, right? Like the blue streak of lightning. Remember those shots, Christian?
Yeah.
And like he's just like holding Barry like dragging him along the ground and everything.
On the ground.
And it was just everyone was just like, what the fuck is happening?
It was brutal.
It was so good. And the Flash is the show itself is like a force to be reckoned with right now. Like, I am so ready for DC movies to like get a hold of this, because the speed fights on the CW, however many back channel it is, it looked incredible, like this fight. And I can't even imagine if they actually had real money to film a fight like this.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. I imagine it would look a lot like the Quicksilver fights that you saw in Avengers, to be honest.
Right, but you didn't see him fighting another like.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Quicksilver in Avengers and Days of Future Past.
I think they also like towards the end of the episode, like the last 5 seconds, where Barry's like, "Guys, I can't feel my legs.
Can't feel my legs. He's fucking paralyzed, man.
He's done."
They always do that, or I say always, but it reminds me of like Batman when his back gets broken. I hate that. Like, or it just makes me squirm or whatever. And they like, because they have to do something bad, because they're like obviously fights with colossal forces involved and whatnot. But I guess they always get better. Like,
yeah, I mean,
that wasn't like a finale, right, or anything.
No, this is just episode 6.
Yeah,
you guys next Wednesday.
So. You guys sounds like you just like described a mid-season finale or something.
It felt like a mid-season finale, which is why it was so out of the blue, because it wasn't one, and
right.
It was just, and I prefaced it with saying like everyone was just talking about how like Zoom's so scary, and like one of the main characters like bitched out because Barry was like, I'm gonna fight Zoom, and he's like, you're so fucking stupid, and like we had no reason to believe that, and I just feel like shows, they don't always deliver on expectation versus like what the secondhand source says. But
was that other character, was that canon?
Who?
Earth 2's version of Barry?
We don't know. We don't know who Earth 2 Barry is yet.
Or not Earth 2 Barry, but Earth 2's version of the Flash. Is that canon? Jay Garrick?
Yeah, it's Jay Garrick.
Okay.
It's Jay Garrick.
But he has 2 first names.
Yeah. But anyways, that's our Flash coverage. So yeah, it was good shit.
It was good shit. And then, I mean, the preview kind of just takes it up to 11, because we get Gorilla Grodd.
Gorilla Grodd. There's a gorilla running around the city, and Barry doesn't have his legs. What's gonna happen? We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's one of the iconic villains, right?
Do you guys know? Like, is it canon? Like, can you guess what's gonna happen based on the comics?
Oh, no.
Not really, no.
No, okay. You sound so surprised. Like Walking Dead. Yeah, I guess you.
Because it's so cool to like. I mean, everyone knows like this character exists, and everyone wants to watch the live adaptation of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna like go from a comic book panel to panel.
Mm-hmm.
They never really do that.
Yeah, now that I think
I'm kind of curious though, because we're on the topic of superheroes right now. Did you continue watching Supergirl? Because I kind of like zoned out after the first.
I watched 2 episodes. It's a show I'm gonna watch if I get around to it. It's not near a priority. I don't know how it looks so bad compared to Flash and Arrow. It just visually it does not look very good.
I guess to me it's just that they're pushing the whole like girl power kind of thing. Like, I can appreciate that, but at the same time, when you're just like punching people in the face with it every episode, it's kind of like, oh, she can't do that. Why? Because she's a girl? Well, no.
So the writing is not as smart.
It's tough to write outside of. I mean, a lot of her premise is being in the shadow of her cousin, Kal-El, or Superman. But I mean, yeah, they're beating it. Excuse me, they're beating it a little hard to death, and God, it looks really campy and cheesy, and not in the good way.
Yeah, because it's almost always the good way when like comic fans refer to something that way, because like they can get into that mindset and enjoy it, but that's not great if it's not in the good way.
There's a difference between like when Arrow and Flash came out. This is all we were exposed to, and it set a standard, and you didn't know how good it was until something that like Supergirl comes along, and it's like, this is not as good. Yeah, this is not as good as Flash and Arrow, and it just shows that.
I think it's bad too, because they're like I mean, I think they're up there in terms of what they can pay to put into this episode, right? Their budget, I feel, would be so much bigger being on.
Should be more.
Right.
being CBS, but
And they know what their competition is.
Yeah, they
like,
don't.
you know, I mean, Arrow kind of went in there and they said, we're going to take a chance. Supergirl didn't have to do that. You know, they have something where they could base it off of and be like, well, look at what these episodes have done or these other shows have done and look at what they're doing well.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ugh. Anyways, we got to keep moving. I'll quickly talk about preseason 6 in League of Legends because I played some games.
I heard a lot of stuff is broken.
I mean, preseason is always super experimental.
Well, not just that. Like, Thresh isn't considered ranged or melee, so he can't buy either of those options for items. Like, I think Runon's is ranged only, and is it Tiamat?
I don't know why you would buy.
Well, it's just like one of those things where you can't buy melee only or ranged only options for Thresh, which is interesting to me.
Sure. I mean, that's cool too. I mean, that's not what's important right now, but
no.
I mean, the big differences are the masteries. They've really streamlined them.
Keystones? Is that what they call them?
Yeah, keystones are the big game changers. Basically, it's like at the end of a tree, there's like 3 big options you can choose from, and they
are big. I actually logged in the other day just to see what they were.
Right, they're like you can get heals on crits, or
Which
you can get like
stupid strong
AOE attacks. Right, and it's cool because you can tailor them to very specific champs, which makes like you have to make a lot more.
They definitely made what is it? The offensive tree they made a lot easier for ADs because you either have your auto attack ADC or you have your skill based. Yeah.
Right. Is it still 30 points being allocated?
Yeah.
No, it's different, isn't? Oh, you mean
like total? I guess that because to me the thing I always wanted to do was like. And for those that don't play League, like masteries are outside the game attributes that you can ascribe to your character. You get like 30 out of like, I don't know, 90 possible options. And you kind of build these presets for archetypes that you want to play. And a lot of the pros will build the preset in the 15 seconds while they're in the lobby, like after they pick their character, because they know they want something unique for every game and every character. So like to me that's super intimidating. So I was kind of hoping there would be like, I don't know, 10 to 15 choices, and like I actually could learn them all and think about it quickly and build my presets in the lobby. But it doesn't sound like that's going to be the case.
Well, I disagree.
Really?
They removed some of the functionality though,
because there were so many options, right? Like, are there less options to choose from?
They're technically more options, but it's more streamlined. And like I was saying, like most of the clicking, like if it says like 5 out of 5, you just click it like twice and it'll automatically fill that up. And like for each like row, so to speak, there's only 2 or 3 options.
You could also just mouse wheel it if you want to put points into it.
I guess to me it sounds. I was hoping for something a lot simpler, I guess.
But I mean, it's if you take a look at it, I don't think it's more difficult. Because each of the bottom 3 are specific for like for a champ, really. And so as long as you like know what your champ is, like, okay, this is a mage caster. He wants if you can stack spells, then you do extra damage. So that's what you're gonna work towards. That's what you know, because you know that's one of the keystones. Like I think most of it is catering to the keystone.
Are you still doing like 21-9 kind of thing?
It's 18 and 12 now.
Oh, new mastery meta.
Yep. The thing about that is that you're not allowed to like split the points between 2 different traits in a line. So let's say you have 2 traits in a line and one of them they both take 5. You want to split it like, I don't know, 3-2 or whatever. You can't do that. You have to put all 5 into one before you progress down the next line. So well, I don't know why they kept the point system if they were going to do it that way, because if you have to max one out to go all the way down the line, you should just let people click on which one they want instead of allocating like 5 points to this one, 1 point to this one, 3 points to that one.
So for the sake of not, I guess, covering all the key points, like, are you excited, Patrick, or is it just more things to learn? Is it the same league, or?
Preseason's always fun because there's a lot of experimental stuff going around. ADCs have a lot bigger build path now. There are items that cater very specifically to what an ADC wants to do, like attack speed versus critting. So I mean, whether or not I think it's good for their game, preseason is always fun because it's a clusterfuck right now.
Yeah, because nobody knows what the hell they're doing.
Right, like Quinn's got a 0 cooldown on her R now. Kog'Maw is like a 5.0 attack speed guy, and Graves has a shotgun.
Did Quinn get a rework?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's not go too deep into the The
I'm just
character-
saying, right,
Oh,
right.
yeah,
That was I wasn't like saying let's dive into all of it. I was just saying there's a lot of changes out, and it's
yeah.
always fun to try out the changes. Whether or not I'm going to keep playing, I don't know, but playing with the changes is going to be fun.
They always come back.
And new
It
champion
always
coming out
comes
soon.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I don't remember. How to pronounce
Alawi.
it. Malawi.
All right, Ben. What do you got, man?
Whoa, what's Enter Zoom?
That was the episode of
That
the
was
Flash.
Flash stuff.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I like Patrick. I'm playing crap ton of Metal Gear Solid. I'm 20 hours in now. I think I'm like maybe half to 2/3 through the main story, which means that game is huge. I still think that game is a wonderful, crazy, amazing thing. Masters of None, Aziz Ansari's new Netflix series is, I guess, Patrick, you're the one that told me about it, right?
Yeah, I said it last week when it first came out.
Oh, yeah.
That comment his dad made, though, it feels.
Oh, yeah. Like, that show can be summed up by the two words, the feels. Like, it's weird. It's like this comedy that turns into this, like, it's a comedy with satire, or not satire, but a comedy with something to say that turns into, like, a drama with something to say.
Yeah, it's very it's got like cultural commentary.
Yeah, like
very targeted at our generation.
Definitely. And then like the last time I felt like I was watching a show where I was laughing and crying at the same time was Orange is the New Black. I'm trying to remember, people were drawing some other comparisons with Masters of None, but it's really interesting. It's just like this guy living in the city just going through it's very minority aware, very like coming of age aware. So I really recommend it. Castle Crashers.
So good. Did you just start playing that?
Yeah, it's the first time I ever played it.
Okay, because I saw you playing it on Steam, and I was like, I should hop into game. And
yeah, we should. So I actually, the story of me and Castle Crashers is a sad story because this is the first. Okay, granted, I've played like 4 games on my computer, but my new computer anyway, like from the last couple months. This is the first time I had like a really bad experience PC gaming, because if you play Castle Crashers, which is like a really popular game, you know, like you kind of have to play with a controller. Like even like the opening screen says we highly recommend that you play with a controller.
Yep.
And I don't have an Xbox controller, and I was playing with the PlayStation 4 controller, and it doesn't map the buttons correctly. It like the 4 right buttons, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to map the Xbox buttons as the same locations, like if you're looking at a pyramid, and it rotated them all like 90 degrees.
Oh, that's weird.
So not only am I looking at prompts for the Xbox buttons, but I have to do the math in my head of the rotation of the buttons, and then
because that was, I think it was started on Xbox and it was ported over to PC.
Yeah, but also it's just PCs, or the Xbox 360 controller has been like the standard for PC for a long time.
Because Microsoft,
yeah, because they had a wired controller that was like $25. Like, it's more popular than the Xbox One controller. Maybe the PS4 is catching up because so many people have PS4s, but so that, and then the bumpers were flipped. And I like,
no way.
Yeah, so
That's so strange.
Not left to right, up and down. So like the bumper and like the right trigger was the right bumper, or the right bumper was the right trigger.
So essentially, you were playing the game like a dyslexic.
Yeah, and like the game, in the end game, there were no prompts to change the mapping. Like I couldn't change the mapping to correct it. Like I could have fidgeted with it like a true PC gamer in the Windows like PS4 program that I'm running to use the PlayStation 4 controller, but like I was so annoyed. Like I just played for like 15 minutes and I was like, I can't do this.
That sucks.
I feel like that was a quality like PC gamer experience.
Yeah. Especially if you're one of those people who got Arkham Asylum, or no, not Arkham Asylum, Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
Lots of fidgeting. I watched the first 3 episodes of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
I don't like. I'm obviously not the target for that show. I could tell that the writing was super smart. It reminded me of 30 Rock, and that I could tell like it was such a smart show, but I couldn't figure out why I was watching it. Do you think it's going to take more than 3 episodes, or do you think that I would know by now if it's for me?
I'd have to know what those episodes were. I don't remember what the first 3 are.
Like the pilot is learning that they're a family, and Morty is this like kind of goofy, quiet slower like student and his grandpa, and his grandpa takes him to this planet so they can get these seeds.
Get the seeds and stick them up your ass.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And then the second episode, it's definitely funny. Like I definitely was laughing. The second episode was they have to make the dog smart.
The dog smart. That's a great episode, man. All right,
and then I think maybe I only watched 2 episodes because I can't remember anything else. I think it must be 2.
Why are my testicles gone, Summer?
Yeah.
Why are my testicles gone?
Yeah, like it's
hard to
very.
believe this is a CNN. Is this Cartoon Network?
It's Adult Swim, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say this doesn't sound like a Cartoon Network
it's
show.
super raunchy. Like or not. But yeah, like it was very funny, but it was one of those shows where I felt like I was wasting time.
Okay. Well, then don't watch it, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like that's like what it is.
I guess like
it's got like you compared it to 30 Rock, which I'm glad you did because it is a very smart show and it's got a lot of subtleties to it and sharp writing. I don't know, just like the Total Recall episode is what they call it, is one of the smartest like episodes I've seen ever written.
Which I might just go watch that episode because I have the first 2 seasons. Maybe I'll give it a go. I just like, I can't really think of my thoughts. And I watched Trainwreck, the Amy Schumer comedy. Have you guys seen that?
No.
Did you see it, Christian? Trainwreck?
No, I haven't seen that one.
It was like a really it was. Everyone said it was like super good, and it was fine.
That was her movie, right?
Yeah, it was her movie with like Bill Hader. It was like a really cute comedy. I don't know. It wasn't as groundbreaking. I don't know why I expected groundbreaking, but it followed a very particular romantic comedy formula.
Is this just following up on you getting into stand-up comedy and watching all that?
Yeah. Yeah, and I watched Aziz's Madison Square Garden special, but a lot of his Masters of None themes, a lot of his stand-up themes are present in Masters of None. Anyway, so yeah, that was my week. Let's jump into current events.
Woohoo!
Who watched Nintendo Direct? Nobody watched Nintendo Direct. Oh, Christian watched Nintendo Direct. I'm surprised Skype switched to you. Like I can only see one of your faces, and I was just looking at Patrick, and then I think your hand waving like
triggered it.
That's like really smart.
Skype.
Yeah, like
that's kind of cool.
Skype is
that's actually really cool. I watched it.
She's on their stuff. Or Skype's on their stuff. So how was it?
I mean, most of the games I wasn't super duper excited for. I guess it's more Nintendo bringing up franchise names. They had Dragon Quest. I know you played that a little bit, Ian.
Played like one game on a Game Boy, but yeah.
But yeah, so there was that. They had the Star Fox stuff, more Zelda, and the biggest kicker came with the Smash Brothers reveal at the very, very end of the show, where they brought in Cloud from Final Fantasy VII into Smash Brothers, which is awesome and something that people have probably been asking for since Brawl.
But how would Cloud play? Like, would she just be like a he?
Cloud's a he.
How would he be like? I was thinking in my head, he would be like Sheik, like just a fighter. Like, would he have anything interesting to do?
I mean, he's got spells and limit breaks and things like that. They definitely incorporated a lot of his lore into.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's just like
stage. The stage looks amazing.
Yeah. In the video, there's just like a bunch of Easter eggs that fans would recognize, and that and that is incredibly exciting. And they're supposed to have a Super Smash Bros. Direct in December. Yeah. But I think what was important about this direct was it's the first one since their CEO died, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's usually present at these. He's usually the one like hosting it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's good on Nintendo that they're not like changing up how they do things because he was such
this is also the first one where the character that they showed at the end wasn't spoiled beforehand.
That's a fun Easter egg.
Yeah, it's a little tidbit. Because I think most of the time what it is like before these directs, people always have these polls up where they're like, guess the characters. And someone ends up being right because they're like, oh, I've got a source that says it's this. And This time,
I
like
don't
you
think
look at
anyone
that
saw
poll,
this coming.
nobody guessed it.
Yeah.
So no, but no Link news, right? Or Zelda news.
We know it's
Aside from
we
all those
know
characters that were released for that
it's
fighting game.
No, I mean like the new Zelda
Oh,
game.
2016, I
yeah, they
guess,
said
is the
early
biggest thing.
2016.
Oh, they did
Yeah.
early.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Early or summer 2016 at the latest, but
There,
Mhm.
a lot of people were speculating that they were going to try and make that NXT launch game after like it was delayed so many times.
yeah.
But that's pretty close, and NXT is nowhere near that close.
Yep.
DC Cinematic.
It was revealed that Suicide Squad was going to be PG-13.
I don't know how I feel.
Yeah, people are confused or people are upset, but like the main reason is money. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
So it's accessible to everyone who wants to watch it. I
Yeah,
mean,
like-
David Ayer says that it's going to be pushing the PG-13 boundary, but I mean, PG-13 is PG-13.
I guess. To me, at the same time, Suicide Squad isn't one of those things you would take your kids to watch.
So if they were gonna push the boundary of PG, like I was thinking about it. Obviously, my first instinct is one of anger because I obviously I love
Right.
I feel weirdly about that. But like what would they do with an R rating? Like would they have more blood, like more torture, more
Language.
language?
Language is yeah. I mean, and it's crazy because like you think of Heath Ledger's the Joker, and you don't have to be rated R to be terrifying
Mhm.
or like great.
Was that PG-13?
Yeah, it
That's
was.
definitely PG-13.
Holy
Well, it's
crap.
like in my head there's not really an example of a superhero movie. I know Deadpool's not out yet, but like superhero
Deadpool will
movies
be
is gonna be R.
PG-13 actually. Is
No,
it R? Or
It's
PG-13?
R. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
It has to be. He decapitates people.
But like Suicide Squad, in my head, I don't really know how superhero movies take advantage of an R rating because they're often so not grounded, but they're so, I don't know. It just
Originally
To me,
catered
it's-
to a
Yeah.
younger audience. I mean, let's just be honest. It's
To me, it's
for
the
a-
language primarily, right? Because the Suicide Squad is full of
unsavory.
convicts. Yeah,
unsavory
convicts.
folks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you limit the amount of things that they can say, you sort of take away from the character.
As long as they're not saying like, "Oh, fart snap, Nichols," just like something instead of saying like, "Oh," I mean, they can say shit and
You can say fuck now. Like in PG-13
Yeah.
movies, you're allowed 1 or 2 fucks.
Is that actually a thing? 'Cause I
Yeah.
know
I
we
think
talked about this
so.
before, and we weren't sure if that was actually a thing.
No,
yeah,
it's
we think John Travolta was fucking lying about that bullshit.
in the cool or whatever.
Yeah, be cool.
But he did say fuck in that movie, and that movie was PG-13.
Yeah. Well,
So-
he said it to set up the joke. Like you can only say fuck once. in
Yeah.
PG-13 movies.
But we do know from that movie that you could say it at least once.
At least
Yeah.
once.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Chris Pine.
Yeah. So
Is,
there's
Captain.
he's Steve Trevor, which is Wonder Woman's love interest. But he's like shown in like World War II clothing, like a fighter pilot clothing, which kind of confirms that this movie is supposed to span over a multitude of years. Just other small news like Sean Bean and Eva Green are rumored to be cast as Greek gods, Ares and
Didn't
Circe.
they release promo posters about that?
Their one picture got leaked because one dude put it on his Instagram, and nothing has been released or leaked about it.
Okay.
And then Nicole Kidman's rumored out as an Amazonian role. I just thought it was cool. Like, it's happening, guys. We're getting a
So
justice.
does Wonder Woman not age? Is that a thing? Is
Nah,
that
she
why?
doesn't. No.
Okay.
That's a lot of big actors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
I definitely
actresses.
feel like Hollywood is dividing between DC and Marvel. Like, it's crazy. Just like with most of these actors now that you see, you'll be able to say, oh, he's on the DC payroll or the Marvel payroll. It just gets-
Except for Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is playing both teams, but yeah.
It's because he's such a nice guy.
Yeah. And then one last thing I want to plug, the game I'm backing, Indivisible, got a 20-day extension after reaching $900,000 with 5 days left to go. It's
What do
currently
they
sitting
need?
at they need 1.5 million, and they're currently at 1 million with 20 days to go. It's got a lot of indie support from other developers, people like Juan from Guacamelee, Shovel Knight, Zachosaurus from Super Time Force Ultra, and a bunch of them are showing up, and they're going to be in the game. I'm really excited. I really think we can do it, and I'm giddy, guys.
You really think they can do it?
I think they can do it.
500,000 in 20 days? That's
how much?
not a bad
How
game.
long did it take them to raise $1 million?
40.
Okay, so at the same pace.
They can make it.
Par. Yeah, they're at par.
Gosh, I was like, remember that one day that we texted about that so much? I like it felt like they really,
they were far.
They really struggled with like communicating what that was and getting excitement for it.
Did they get better about that?
They didn't get better. It's just not as relevant anymore. Because that explained why it started so slow.
I don't know about how, like, is there an example of a game that like barely made it with such a high asking price? Like, I feel like all the momentum happens at the start. Also, since when do you get 20-day extensions? Like,
And with Indiegogo, maybe.
yeah, like, I don't understand that. Like, how you could not meet your goal. And I'm not saying this from like a fairness point. I'm just like, why can't everyone do that? Or why can't
You have to be at a
no one?
certain percentage to do it. They had to get 60 with 3 or 5 days left. They have to get 60% with 3 or 5 days left. And I don't exactly know the application process, but they had to apply for an extension.
Gosh, I wonder if that's like, if there's any legal like things with that at all. I would think not.
They probably have an entire legal team over at Indiegogo. So
Yeah.
I wonder if like the future of crowdfunding is just going to be a site like Patreon, I guess, where you make your own rules. Like, you don't let a site like cut you off in terms of time or take a cut. I'm sure Patreon takes a cut, but it seems like I'm very weirded out by the, like, I remember I was so interested in the fact that they chose Indiegogo over Kickstarter. I was like, why did they do that? And now, like, I hear that they're able to get a 20-day extension. It's just all very weird to me.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
we'll revisit that.
Mm-hmm.
And November 10th, was the official release of the Steam Machine, Steam Link, and Steam Controller.
yeah, they're plugging it all over the Steam front page.
Yeah. All three are being received, like, obviously I'm generalizing, as kind of half-assed efforts.
Yeah.
There's this like articles coming about how the Steam OS struggles with performance, and there's like no games to play for it, which is the Linux-based operating system that the Steam machines run off of. The Steam Link doesn't work over Wi-Fi, like an accessory that is supposed to stream your computer to your any TV. And then the Steam controller,
Oh my God.
is essentially just like not as good as a mouse and keyboard and not as good as a controller. So what
Yep.
does it do well?
Nothing.
So the Steam revolution might be a couple years away.
Even though they're still kind of like a monopoly on the market for indie games.
Yeah, I mean that's because they're so open in terms of like
Yeah, it's accessible.
Publishing
yeah,
it,
it costs money to develop for consoles, but I don't know, like I think that they're really gonna run into problems with the Steam OS, like the Linux-based operating system. I don't know if new gaming engines are gonna make it easier to port to Linux, but right now, like Windows
Nah,
just
you
has
gotta-
that monopoly, man.
It's
Like,
You got to
just-
jump hoops to get
I'm
to
just
work on Linux.
confused with who is this for, and how much is it? Like, just like, oh, I want to get a Steam machine with the full workup.
exactly. So your confusion is like a really big part of the problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like, and who it's for is also part of the problem. So they range in price from 500 to 5,000. There's like 9+ Steam machines.
So the Steam controller is $50.
The Steam Link is 50. Steam Link is really a separate thing.
Steam Link is $50.
Yeah, it's a separate kind of like you wouldn't use your Steam Link with your Steam machine.
And
though.
the Steam machine is
They range from
Actually can't
500
tell.
to 5,000. There's like 9+ of them, and then you can build your own. It's just like, I think that who's it for? It's for PC gamers or people with PC like interests and console gamers who want to kind of have a replacement to the closedness of consoles. Like PlayStation 4 is going to be around for like 9 years.
I feel like it's for console gamers who are wanting to transition onto PC but don't want to drop that kind of. But I mean, it's still at that price point though.
It's so expensive.
It's so expensive.
For not
At
a
that
lot of
price
games.
point, just build your own PC.
For like
Yeah.
very few games. Like for like Linux games, like of the top 20 games on Steam right now, only like 4 or 5 are playable on Linux.
Right.
And then like I think they're kind of trying to get ahead of the problem with consoles, which is how they iterate so slowly. Like when these consoles launched, they were underpowered, so in 5 years like they're going to be really underpowered. But a Steam machine, it's modular, you can like put in a new video card and whatnot.
Smart. That's smart.
They're trying to make like take advantage of like a digital, like Xbox's vision was a digital only, like no resale, always online connection, which is the future. Like Xbox fucked up hard trying to push the future too
With the
soon.
PR, yeah, with the
Yeah.
PR with it.
But like Steam, the model, like games are on sale for $2.99 like every weekend. Like everything is updated, like everything.
God forbid you hit it during the summer sale or the winter sales.
Yeah, like, and there's no online fee with Steam. Like you don't pay $60 a year, and like
Nope.
all the games are so much cheaper. So Steam is trying to kind of try to take that to a TV space. And I played big picture mode is awesome. I played 20 hours of Metal Gear Solid on my big screen with just an HDMI cable from my tower to my TV, but
That doesn't justify getting an entire new console, though.
no, and like I don't need a Steam Link. I don't need a Steam machine. Like I don't understand why you would ever, like, even if you were gonna build your own Steam machine, just put
Build a PC.
put Windows on it. Like why would you not put Windows on it? Like Steam OS is so limited, and all the games are on Windows and everything is the same, but you have Windows. Like I don't. It's weird. And the Steam controller I was super excited about just because I like the idea of a different kind of controller. Like controllers have been almost the same for 5 to 10 years now. Like when was the last big controller evolution? The bumpers on the 360 on the 360?
Six axis, yeah.
Was this the 6-axis, the analog sticks?
Just analog
No,
stick.
is it the
Yeah.
analog sticks? I guess the latest one we've had is where your controller rotation
Oh yeah, that too.
can.
Yeah, but games like don't use that.
Yeah.
No, because it's not. I mean, it's just not wieldy. You can't. I mean,
I'm pretty
it
sure
makes you
the-
feel like you're that nerd where you're playing
Actually,
like
it's-
car
it's-
games and you're just like,
It's the yeah, I was gonna say it's the Wii nunchuck. That's the biggest advancement in.
oh, that's true.
Well, I meant like, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, like the Steam controller tries to do this thing with this touchpad haptic feedback thing that like kind of tries to give you the dexterity of a mouse on a controller.
Doesn't
And
work.
and it works better than a controller, but not as good as a mouse and keyboard. So it's like I don't know. Like it just needs to be a better product.
Not to mention all the key mapping on it is a little ridiculous. I don't know. I don't.
It is ridiculous. I mean, it's part of like PC sensibilities, like customize everything to your experience and your way you want to play in your game. But to have to download custom mappings for every game that you play sounds exhausting.
Yeah, just get yourself a fucking keyboard.
Yeah, I don't
I
even.
mean, there are
like,
games where you don't need as much feedback, so you can go ahead and play it on a controller. That's perfectly fine. But
Oh,
then
yeah.
you have games where it requires you to use.
Yeah, can you play League on the Steam machine?
You could like
Really?
yeah, like because the Steam controller you can map every single button, so you can map your QWE to your every single button, and there's buttons on
Right,
the
Feel
bottom.
right to me though.
No, but with the I guess the mouse, like is it? Can
Yeah,
you use the mouse?
you
part
could,
of it
dude.
too?
Yeah.
You really could. It's pretty
I mean,
crazy.
I'd
It's
like
really
to see
crazy.
that.
Some
Yeah.
people map the right circular pad as an actual mouse pad, so
Right.
wherever you drag your thumb on that pad actually does drag the mouse.
Yes. Is that not like playing with it? That's like trying to play League with a trackpad, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
It's a little bit I think it's a little bit different because like I think you can move your thumb really quickly over it instead of like a trackpad, which is like not as ergonomic. But yeah, you're right. Like
Like
it's
but space though.
it'd
Like
be,
you know, to get those really wide sweeping movements with your mouse.
well, that's the
but
thing.
all the
You
way
can
across the screen, I
customize
guess.
the sensitivity. So like
Oh, you could.
you can literally customize everything about it, which is neat, but it just doesn't doesn't do the job well enough.
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's kind of crazy to think about, but
no, yeah, it's I'm my interest is peaked, but I would never for
right thing, wrong time, maybe.
Yeah, it's like
it's like the first to the party is always the one that doesn't do it perfectly. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's always good that there's competition. Like Xbox and PlayStation 4's closed platforms have allowed them to make a ton of money to allow them to invest in first-party game developers to create amazing experiences. Like people complain that Halo is not on computer, but it's like if Xbox doesn't exist, like there might not be a Halo. I don't know. There would be something else, but like it's still not a negative thing to have all these different options. Anywho,
nice.
Of course I use Halo as my example.
It's a good example, man.
Thanks, man. Okay, let's jump into Patrick's topic.
Sure. My topic is France in movies, TV, and video games. It's obviously topical. Our hearts are with France during these troubled times. It's been heartbreaking to read and watch some of the news we have been, but a country with rich and important historical and current significance, we should take the time to celebrate some of the great moments in movies, TV, and games that have been given to us and inspired by France and its people. So I've got a list out here. Some of you guys have added to it, and you've read through it, of some things that France is relevant in. So I guess we can start with last year's Assassin's Creed Unity. Barring what that game
I had to bring that up.
That is an interesting choice to start with.
It is. I probably should not have started, but I even kind of thought chronologically because, I mean, you think about the French Revolution, and there's not many games on it, and it's pretty cool that Assassin's Creed was one of the first games to really cover it. People that aren't like when people think French Revolution, they think of what's the Mel Brooks movie, History of the World Part 1?
I think of the guillotine.
Yeah, the guillotine. Or Christian, you've seen History of the World.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, or yeah, the guillotine, fancy wigs. But I mean, none of us played
Assassin's Creed. Very haughty accents.
Yeah, but when it comes to PlayStation Plus in a year or two, I'd be excited to pick that up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a cool topic just because, like, I don't know. It was cool to see on social media, even though, like, there's a lot of opinions out there about, like, how people should respond to these type of tragedies or how social media, like, should play a role or whatever. Like, it's still, like, there's still a lot of positive, like, dialogue happening. And, like, a lot of people just remembering that France was, like, our first and best ally. Like, we wouldn't be a country without France. And then, like, because I don't know, France receives a lot of shit in US pop culture.
Yep.
So like the conversation's really all been positive, which is
to be
good.
fair though, like the US also receives a lot of shit in a lot of other countries' pop culture.
True.
So...
But we probably deserve a lot of the shit, and I'm sure France deserves some of the shit. Everyone deserves their shit.
Their desserts. They get just desserts.
Like I saw that you had Leon. I missed that. Like Leon the Professional, High Tension are both like really interesting French movies that are some of my favorite movies. High Tension is probably one of my favorite horror movies of all time.
I haven't seen High Tension.
It's about I'm not even gonna explain it. Maybe some cover art. And then you have, I don't know some of these.
Well, Christian, do you remember what France was popular for in Red Alert 2? I wrote it down, but
I played Red Alert 2 a lot.
Yeah, okay. Well, then remember how each country has their speciality?
They were the snipers, right?
No,
that was Britain. Yeah. That was Britain.
It had the huge, what is it? The cannons, right?
They had the Grand Cannon.
Yeah,
which was like a huge chunk of like land, and it was just like this gigantic cannon that would obliterate anything from a distance. It was so great. You were like when you were trying to invade a base with
right?
Who?
Russia had the Tesla tanks.
Russia had Tesla tanks, yeah.
I think the U.S. had like the Mirage tanks.
They had paradrops.
Okay, I'm trying to remember who had the Mirage.
I want to
All the allies.
They
had it,
need to
but yeah.
remaster that game.
Oh man, I mean they came out with Red Alert 3 some time ago, but it didn't do. It wasn't as cold.
Could you imagine like Red Alert with StarCraft style graphics though?
Yeah.
Red Alert 3 was pretty new. It's like 2008 or something.
I'm pretty sure I bought Red Alert 3 and my computer couldn't play it, so I never played it.
I think
I just remember Yuri.
And then I became a console gamer. That might have been a different Command and Conquer game. I don't know.
Wasn't that with Yuri with like the mind control?
Yeah, it was Red Alert 2.
He was like
Yuri's
the priests in
Midnight in Paris was incredible.
Yeah, Midnight in Paris was a great movie.
Have either of you ever been to Paris?
No.
I have not.
Neither have I. Never mind.
Okay.
Ratatouille though. Ratatouille.
Ratatouille is a
That
great
was a good movie.
French movie.
Loved it.
Did you guys ever read The Adventures of Tintin? It's probably one of the more interesting things I tripped up on looking through
No,
this
I
stuff.
haven't actually read that.
I'm sure you guys have seen the art at least, or kind of know what it's about.
It's a story about the weasel.
No, it's about like this young boy who's into exploring, and it was started publication in 1929, and it was continued to be written until 1976. And there was a movie that came out pretty recently about it. But
that's how I had heard of it. I didn't know that it was anything other than a movie.
Right. It's really interesting. I know Alex had a lot of its comics, but I don't know. I didn't like when I first saw it. I didn't think it was like this old or this relevant, because it was a big deal throughout the entire most of the 20th century. Actually, it went through a lot of world events, and it captured a lot of like the satire and cultural commentary over those years.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second.
Ooh, Moulin Rouge.
Vin Diesel's in Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
He gets killed by the sniper.
Yeah, so for context, Saving Private Ryan, which obviously was set in France because of the invasion of Normandy Beach, there's this scene where Vin Diesel dies saving a little girl in a town. And I mean, it's one of the more powerful scenes. And
probably one of the only times Vin Diesel dies in a movie.
you just remember like the movie's set in France, and there's like people there going through all that shit. But the artist is also great. I know it's a silent movie, but it's French director, French leads. Highly recommend it.
Inglourious Bastards.
Glorious Bastards. The ending was set in France. Melanie Laurent's character is really good. Did any of you guys seen Amélie?
No.
It's one of the more popular French movies. It's like really, really popular. I've heard it's really good. A good feels trip. Yeah, so
I think I watched this in school.
But yeah. I mean, I got other stuff like the HQ for Ubisoft is in France, and obviously they're responsible for a lot of the games we have today. BioShock Infinite, its main character Elizabeth was pining to go to Paris the whole time, and you were...
Of all these things, you didn't bring up the Statue of Liberty.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I mean... Oh, so like Ghostbusters too? Like with the Statue of Liberty when they get inside it? So there you go.
I mean, it was donated... Was it donated to us? By the French?
Yeah, it was given to us.
Dude, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was like a gift.
It's awesome.
Our symbol of liberty was given to us by the French.
Wasn't it like made in...
They shipped it to us in parts.
Okay, gosh. It's amazing what human beings can do. Like, how do you put together the Statue of Liberty? Like, what kind of, like, cranes do you need in, like, 1938 or whatever?
Like
1886.
Oh, my God.
How do you make something like that in 1886? How do you make something like that now? It's like I saw some footage of, like, people building the new World Trade Center, and it was, like, this guy was like sitting like all those famous skyscraper photos. They're like sitting on beams eating like their boxed lunch.
Yeah.
Like 1/2 mile in the sky, however high it is. And it's like, I don't know. Human beings can do crazy things.
Nope. It's crazy.
No, thank you.
I can't even like watch an IMAX about paragliding or something. It scares me.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we're just celebrating France. They've given us a lot of cool things. They gave us Jean Reno, Marianne Cotillard.
Yeah, it'll continue. It'll be weird for a while.
They gave us baguettes.
Yep, baguettes, escargot, taste and wine.
Yeah, that's true.
And fries too.
Did they give us French fries? I think that might be like a thing, right?
Probably
Why else
not.
would they be called French fries?
It doesn't seem very French.
They gave us kissing too.
Deep
right?
fried potato. Yeah, kissing. There you go.
Kissing.
Culinary origin. They originated in Belgium, although there's an ongoing dispute between French and Belgians of where they were invented is highly contentious, both countries claiming ownership. Well,
awkward.
That'll be a whole nother podcast. All right. Well, my topic this week was like I wish that I was in the same mental state as I was after I watched Harmontown. Like I was in this like really weird kind of the topic was like much fresher and I had much more opinions about it, but he was doing this little monologue. Dan Harmon, he's the creator of Rick and Morty and Community and does his own podcast called Harmontown, which was inspired by this show. Just kidding. He like described what he thinks like his community is about and why they're so passionate, and he called them nerds full of love, which I thought was kind of nice. Like it like there were a lot of people talking about how much they related with Community and how they had a passion for being different and weird, how like insecurities and pressures from society kept them from embracing things. And I find it like I feel like the reason nerd culture has caught on so much in the last decade, and honestly, me saying that is probably the most ignorant thing on the planet, because like we're like in our early 20s and like Star Wars was really fucking cool, and like I don't know, the 80s, like nerd culture's been around for forever, and it feels like with Big Bang Theory and Game of Thrones that this is like a new thing, that fantasy is now mainstream and all that junk. But I just think that like a lot of people can relate to a lot of what it means to be a nerd, like whether it be that you're passionate about something or whether it be that you like overcome strong struggle or whatever. So I guess my topic is just like what it means to be a nerd, and like,
is there a difference between a nerd and a geek? Is that
I would say like it would just be a personal definition. Like if you like there is kind of like those different connotations, but if you think they're the same thing, then they're the same.
I suppose it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. I would say I'm talking more about nerds than geeks. But I don't know. It was like I had a question. I wrote down, "Is everyone okay?" question mark. Cuz like it seems like everyone should know that they're fine. Like everyone should know. Everyone has like someone that they can relate to, some piece of media that they can attach to, like something. And it seems like people are still like really struggling, and that's why obviously it's just life. But it seemed very related to the whole nerd thing.
So where did you want to take this?
Right. I'm
that's why
to...
that's why I was saying at the beginning, like I wish that I had done this after I had watched the show, because I had like these questions. I wrote down all these questions, and I had like specific talking points, but I don't really have any today. But it was written down, and I did want to follow up on it because I had these weird thoughts after I watched it. Like, why do you think? Okay, here's a question: why does high school like suck? Like, why are teenagers so like petty and in their own heads, and like teachers so like disconnected from teenagers, and the classrooms like the classrooms are so like kind of old school? Like, does it have to be like that?
Man, I think a lot of it is just the
That's
insecurity
yeah,
in
that's
every
loaded.
high
Holy
schooler
cow.
out there. Yeah, like it's we're not psychologists or anything to figure out like why high schoolers are the way they are. Um,
No, we're gonna get down to this right now. We're gonna solve
but
that problem.
it's I don't know.
I
High
mean,
school wasn't the worst
it
for
was
me.
yeah, it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I guess, like for me, or for like it
But I
wasn't.
feel like it's also the environment that we all like. All of us were, I think all of us were like magnet slash honor students at the very least, right? So I
Yeah,
mean, we were kind of isolated or insulated, I would suppose, from that. We didn't have to deal with that particular type of culture in high school because we were always
Yeah.
surrounded by our peers, and our peers just happened to be people who shared the same interests.
yeah. Like even the smart kids at like my school had cliques. Like we had like an IB program, which was like a different kind of intellectual. Clearly I wasn't in the IB program. And then like I don't know, I did like sports or whatever, and no, I mean this kind of has nothing to do with the topic, I guess, but I just remember seeing all these like sad people like reaching out to Dan Harmon, and like he was like hugging them all and like making them feel okay and stuff, and I was like it's weird to me how like I mean even as people in our early 20s, we're conscious of how different we are from 10 years ago, or 5 years ago, even.
Try like 8 months.
Yeah, or 8 months ago. So it was like like I don't know. I'm lost.
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to figure out whether or not like we're upset that like Big Bang Theory they technically I guess make fun of nerds. And we talked about this I think last time. Like Community is a show for nerds, and like Big Bang Theory is about a show about nerds. So it might be like defining like if we're getting further away from the nerds of Big Bang Theory and getting closer to the nerds of like just guys who appreciate things with intense passions. I don't know like
Yeah. Like I guess getting to the root of it is hard because there's a lot of different definitions of what it is.
right
Well, I
right.
feel
Like,
like the
that was
term
totally
nerd
mine.
originally wasn't even a positive connotation, right? It was negative.
Yeah.
It was a name people called other people to make them feel
Yeah,
bad.
and,
So
like, fucking
when do you think it became positive? Like when do you think the Revenge of the Nerds happened?
When the internet got big.
Like do we have like the knowledge to know that? Like we need some older people to ask. Like I don't know.
No,
I mean, I
you're right.
wholeheartedly
It's-
believe it was when the internet got big.
You're right. It is tough, but then again, like most people that are older, like they love Star Wars, you know, and like it was okay to like Star Wars. But then again, you watch other old movies where um, people are being like swirlied and shoved into lockers. I don't think that's. Once again, I'm from white suburbia, so I don't know if people still shove people into lockers, but that never happened at our school.
Nope.
It's probably
Um,
like my school had like a whole like freshman Friday thing. Like we like actually had some of that like TV culture, like something that you would see like in like a movie that takes place in the Midwest like about the high school football team. Like I like actually saw. I don't know, that has nothing to do with nerds, but yeah, I don't know. I think we kind of covered it, all that I needed. I don't know. That was kind of cathartic for me, even if it wasn't like a cohesive topic. I'm glad I got to tell you guys like what I was thinking about after I watched that
Yeah.
documentary.
No, it's like super interesting, and I feel like we could probably delve into that. It's just we probably need a more predefined.
For sure.
A little structure. And like you said,
Yeah.
you were hot on it last week, and when you came up with these questions, you were probably hotter about it versus a week. I'm sure Master of None is your current like
Dude, I could
existential.
I could talk about that show. Yeah, like exactly.
Yeah.
My current like freak out or whatever, but I could talk about that show for hours, but like to talk about that show is insanely uninteresting to other people, like, because you said it, like, that show is oddly defined by your personal experiences.
Yeah.
And like for anyone to talk about what they think about that show, it's like it's gonna be all about me, which would be very uninteresting to hear about as a listener, or even as like just an acquaintance or whatever.
No, and but that does speak volumes about the show.
Yeah.
So go watch it if you haven't, and keep to yourself what you thought about it, because no one else is gonna give a shit.
Exactly.
So
I think we have time for Christian's topic.
Do we actually have time to cover all three this time?
If we don't keep commenting on if we have time for it, so go.
Yeah.
All right. So emotional attachment to video games, and specifically which video game, what about the game made this attachment, impressions of your first playthrough, and if possible, maybe the feelings of completing the game that first time.
I'm trying to think if the video games that I'm most emotionally attached to are different than the games that were my favorite games, because I feel like they should be different. I mean, not like there should be some overlap.
Mine are different for sure.
Okay, cool. Because all the games that were coming to my head were just like my favorite games of all time. You guys go.
I guess I'll go first then. If obviously Telltale, hands down. Just because you play the RPG aspect so much that you make these decisions that in turn affect the storyline. So obviously the investment is there, how you treat people, and that directly relates to whether or not you are emotionally attached to people like Duck in The Walking Dead, or your fake feelings towards Snow White. And
I was so happy when Duck died.
Oh my gosh.
My emotional attachment to Duck was one of a psychopath.
Did you not give him a high five when you guys solved the mystery?
No.
Oh my god.
No.
Did you give Ellie a high five when you crossed the dam?
Yes.
Okay. Thank God.
Redeemed yourself a little bit.
You're not
apparently.
an entire monster, but
Hey, you told me to play that game a little bit like a monster, so that I didn't miss out. So you created the monster.
No. But I mean, Telltale plays to the emotional attachment part, so obviously that's what I would choose.
See, I'm a little different in the way I would guess my emotional attachment. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that the game I'm thinking of right now, anyway, is Final Fantasy VII for sure. This was probably the first JRPG that I ever played through, and it was like 5 discs long on the PS1.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, after going through X amount of hours without a guide and actually 100%ing the game at a certain point, you have a connection to the characters and the storyline, and there's just something about that connection that I made back then that absolutely resonates with me now. Every single time I'll hear like the theme play, like when they played that first couple of screens along with the music from the opening of Final Fantasy VII during the Nintendo Direct, I got goosebumps, and I actually may have teared up a little bit during that reveal, because it was nostalgic, and it was just a very strong emotion. I can't exactly pinpoint what I was feeling like. Was it happy? Not quite. It was a little ecstatic, but I mean, for the fact that the music itself, to have that effect on me X amount of years into the future, is just mind-blowing to me.
I'm sure the E3 announcement as well is probably a big deal.
The HD remake.
If that's console only, would you buy a console for that?
I would debate it, yeah.
Okay, that's enough. That's a lot.
Yeah,
for you,
I would
that's
debate
a lot.
That.
But
is the original available for PC?
It's available on PC.
It's available on everything. I think you can actually get it on Steam.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you could even get it. Well, yeah, never mind. But yeah, no, I think it is available on Steam. It is on Steam.
I'm gonna go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No.
I was gonna say I was gonna go like a little bit different way with this. Diddy Kong Racing for the N64. If I had to think of like a game that I like brought back emotions, that was like a game that was kind of like the first time I realized that I was like really good at video games. I don't know. Like that sounds pretty crass or whatever. Like I don't
If there
know.
were an esport for that game right now, you would dominate.
Dude, I
Well,
would
it's
be
more like humble bragging.
humble brag. I'm just bragging. Like when I just remember being at Kids R Us. Like my parents would drop me off during the summer because they both worked. And I was like, ooh, I was young. Like I was younger than all the other like older kids, like the cool kids. And like they had that blessed policy that like the winner stays on the court, quote unquote. And I just remember like just kicking all these kids' ass. It's like I was just like I was so good at Diddy Kong Racing, and like everyone was like oh like how are you so good, and I was just like dang like I'm really good at this. It, like made me feel really good.
God, Ben,
Yeah, dude.
You gotta stop.
This is why.
Oh, I'm so good. Look at how good is he? And like, yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. It just sounds so funny.
You guys would have. I was a legend. The legend of the Kids Are Kids.
Is this the kind of stuff that he says when he like kills people in League? I have yet to play a League. I think I played like one League game with you, Ben.
No, dude, we used to play like a good bit. We probably played like.
I remember you playing Zach a lot, and every single time you would like do something awesome, you'd be like, "Guys, did you see that? I'm amazing."
Pretty
That
sure
does-
all of us do that every single time.
That
something
does
amazing.
sound like me, but no, like I don't know. I must have been probably in like first grade or like kindergarten, and then that was like the last game that I remember playing with my dad too. Like when I was like younger, like I'm not gonna say when the games were simpler, but like when my dad, that's like when my dad would play a lot of games with me. I just remember me, him, and I think my sister was like a little bit too young for. I don't think she was too young for Diddy Kong, but I think she liked Mario Kart more. But like of all the games I remember, yeah, having emotional attachment to, it's Diddy Kong Racing. I don't know. I just think that a lot of it was just because like I was very young. I don't know. I don't know that the most recent games I play. I just play so many that are all emotional that I have yet to play one that.
You should have led with a bit about your dad.
No, dude, that wouldn't be truthful though. Like dominating those older kids at the Kids Are Kids, those older guys at the Kids Are Kids is the.
That's really what
That's
cemented
the that's
it.
the
Huh?
That's what it's
heart.
about.
That's the heart of the answer was just being a god at Diddy Kong Racing.
This is why you gravitate towards those FPSs
No, dude, for sure. For and MOBAs and RTSs.
and MOBAs, kicking ass and
Yeah.
taking names.
This is a very cathartic episode for me.
Nice.
I haven't really talked about that in forever.
This was Ben's session on the couch, really.
Yeah.
This was.
Do we get
this
to
was-
charge him like $200 an hour now?
Yeah, this is the replacement for him going to a psychiatrist, right?
I have no shame. Haven't you guys ever just taken like glee in destroying someone in a video game?
Oh yeah.
Okay. But like
Yeah.
so what's your first yeah, Patrick, I actually expect you to say no to that one.
Not really.
Like what was
I
your
always-
what
no,
would be
go.
your first memory of doing that then, Christian?
Absolutely, just demolishing someone in a game.
And enjoying it because you're good at it. Not like taking enjoyment for a game not because it's fun or interesting, but because you're good at it. I don't that could just be me, but
Modern Warfare 2.
two,
I would
not
say,
one.
yeah. I didn't actually play the first one. I
Oh.
jumped in
People
on the
love Modern Warfare too.
I hated Modern Warfare 2. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, when it got to the point where like my win streak was above a 1.0, or yeah,
Your KD.
no, my win streak, my win-loss ratio.
Okay.
You mean 2.0? 1.0 would be you win the same amount of games that you lose.
Yeah, it was above 2.0.
Yeah.
Or reached like the upper bounds of two, closer to 2. Yeah. When I could consistently win a game and still be at the top of the kill, leaderboards because I wasn't dragging anyone down, I was actually contributing the most to the team.
Yeah.
That's when I would, log into the games and, I was I never actually recorded it, but I was into like the whole quick scoping bit for the Modern Warfare community. So, every time I would land those and I would land them consistently in game, I'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
am
No, it's like a very real thing. Like I mean, it's a thing casually when people like don't want to play a game they're not good at. But I can think of so many games like chess or whatever. Like I play chess because I like beating people.
I've never
at
beaten
chess.
Ian in a game of chess.
Really?
We haven't played in a while.
We haven't played
that
in
was
a while.
back in the day.
But of all the games, like I've never beaten Ian in a game of chess.
Yeah, I dig some chess hard. I love chess. Okay. Are there any other embarrassing embarrassing stories you want to drag out of me? Any other topics? Are we good?
Ian looks like
We're
he's
good.
thinking about it. Okay.
We're good. I'm trying, but we can let it go.
We
can let it go.
Yeah, I just called him Ian.
Did.
Patrick is
It's starting.
Patrick is no longer emotionally attached to that topic.
No.
All right. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We live stream Sundays around 4 o'clock at twitch.tv/thecubepodcast. The audio tracks are up later that night or at Monday at the latest. We would really appreciate anyone's feedback on iTunes. It would really feedback just in general would be really helpful. Like beyond just like rating it helps exposure, but actual feedback is something that honestly we only give each other. Like I don't know. I think feedback would be really helpful.
Constructive, preferably.
Destructive, preferably.
We'll take what we can get. At fig_TV, at cmonkey2eyes, and at freebrunch on Twitter. Take care, everyone.
Later, y'all.